Okay, guys, give me a second. We're live. Welcome to our Diets Are Fattening YouTube weekly guidance towards ditching your diet mentality permanently and becoming a happier, healthy, thin person, which is a completely reasonable goal and it is completely attainable. I know you may not think so, but it is. What we do every week at this time, noon Eastern Standard Time, is go over our workbook. I am going through it slowly, so you may notice that it is the first 12 weeks of your Healthy Thin Mentality is the title of the workbook. We're going through it more slowly than that. If you have the workbook, go through it at your pace, but when we meet here on Mondays, follow where I am. You can go slower, you can go more quickly. The whole point here is that you are doing a permanent switch. Okay. Hopefully that's a little better. I just plugged my mic in. Okay, hopefully that's a little better. But the whole point here is that this isn't a cleanse. This isn't a quick scheme. This is the rest of your life. This is how you're going to approach eating food, your body, nutrition, all the things that you care about. This is it. So when I created the workbook for the first 12 weeks of your Healthy Thin Mentality to kind of guide you through and give you a good roadmap of what the rest of your life is going to be like, but you can take it at the pace that's good for you. And for us doing this, presentation here, I just found it better to slow it down because when I did it all one chapter at a time, I felt like I skipped over stuff and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to go through it slowly and make sure I got the nuances of this. Not that it is complicated, but it's because I know how you're thinking because I was a dieter for a very long time and I want to make sure I hit those hot button thoughts that I know you're having about dieting and how could this be possible and how could my whole life I've been a dieter and how could that not have been the way for me to be thin, healthy, and happy. I'm going to refer to a couple questions we got. One was on our private Facebook page. We have two, dietsarefattening.com on Facebook. Yes, .com on Facebook, and Diets Are Fattening Workbook. Both are completely open, but you have to just request to join. One of the questions we got this past week, or comments, was about someone who's only 20 years old, and she said that she's been restricting food and dieting since she was 10. And that's just so heartbreaking, of course, because those 10 years that she spent doing that, that's painful and not necessary. But the good news is she's 20 and she can fix this now. So I was so happy to see her online talking about her experience from that very, very young age of 10. And someone introduced that into her life and meaning well, for sure, probably, because mothers, sisters, parents, boyfriends, girlfriends, we think we're helping by saying, oh, here's your body and be at a size that you're like and that you are proud of. And that's important. And that is definitely where my message here differs from other people who promote intuitive eating, which I love. But I did this, and this message was based on someone like me. So if what I wanted in my life was a healthy relationship with food and eating, and I wanted to be in my ideal weight range, it was important to me. It's still important to me. It's really wonderful to be in that range. I have to tell you, it's worth the energy that you spend here figuring out how to get here calmly, peacefully, harmoniously, and how to stay there for the rest of your life, not up and down. And so that's my message for people who want to lose weight to get in their happy, healthy weight range, and they want to stay there permanently, and they also love food and eating, because that's the other side of the coin. And mindful eating is much more enjoyable. Intuitive eating is much more enjoyable than diet eating where you follow rules. So blah, blah, blah. I just like to get that out there first so you know kind of where we're coming from if you're new. If you're not new, thank you for listening to that. And another question I wanted to answer before we go into week 1, exercise 5, which is where we are today on page 28. Great question on our channel here on YouTube was someone saying they wanted to lose stomach fat. And how do you do that? Does this work for that? And that's a great question because it's such a myth that you can spot reduce. You absolutely cannot spot reduce. There's no such thing unless you do liposuction or some cool sculpting or one of those new things that are out there, which I'm not recommending. I'm just saying you can't spot reduce. You can spot build muscle. You can, work your triceps or biceps or whatever, and you will build them. But there's no such thing as telling your body where to take the weight off. I don't care what anyone says, what any gimmick there is out there that's telling you that. they're lying. It does not work like that. Ask any reasonable doctor, biologist. That's just not how it works. You have a body type, and where you hold weight is your body type. It's your genetics. And if you carry weight in your stomach, then you definitely can lose weight in your stomach, but you can't say, well, that's where I want to lose it first. Well, maybe you will, but that's going to be up to your body, and your body's not changeable that way. If you lose weight, yes, your stomach will get smaller, but you may lose it elsewhere first. It's just a reality. I'm never going to lie to you. That's the way it is. So when you have a body part you want to get smaller, you can't think about that. You have to think of overall. This is my body type. I tend to carry more weight in my legs, whatever. That's me, and that's okay, because I love animals that have little legs like that too, and I'm going to love myself as well in that state. But when I'm going on my healthy thin mentality and I'm losing weight, I will become the best version of me. And that is all you can hope for, right? That is all you can and should hope for, to be the best version of you, because you're the only one who can do that. So when you get ideas of like, oh, I really want flat abs, some people are very thin and do not have flat abs. It's okay. It's okay. Some people are very thin most places and have bigger legs. It's okay. That's who you are, and you're not going to change it. Don't beat yourself up trying to do something that isn't going to happen anyway. That's like the thing with dieters, and believe me, again, I was one for a very long time, is you're so vulnerable and you so want a magic pill and you want someone to say, yes, you can have six-pack abs, do this. And they'll do something like give you a cleanse where you empty out your colon, and that's supposed to make your abs flat. That's just one of the stupidest things that's out there. No, that's your gut being flat inside. It doesn't help your outside. The body fat that's on your body will go away over time when you match eating and hunger, but it will do so at its pace and in the location that your body wants to give it up first, and just deal with that. That's you. It's okay. None of us are perfect. But that when we're dieters and someone says, oh, you can get this, and maybe you have someone in your life you admire who's got a certain body type, like, I want to be like that. You just can't, you can't change who you are in that way, right? So instead of focusing on what you don't have and want, focus on what you do have and take care of being that best representation of you in the body that you have. Someone else asked me to talk about a guy named Blake Horton who does the kind of intermittent fasting. And, I hadn't heard of him. I checked out his Instagram page and I looked at it briefly. And I kind of feel like that's all I need, because first of all, on his Instagram page, there's lots of pictures of very large quantities of food that he's eating or other people are eating. And I think that's very enticing, because you're like, oh, wow, if I do intermittent fasting or the program that he's recommending, 1 meal a day or whatever it is. And honestly, I didn't look at it a lot, but just my initial takeaway, which I think is still valid, is that he's not connecting eating with hunger. He's setting up ways to eat in order to be able to eat more food. Like one of his quotes was, I get to eat a whole bunch of food that I love all at once. Okay, that's, if that worked, it would already be a big thing and people would have lost weight and stayed there. That's not a new thought. The fasting and the eating once a day, and those are not new, guys. Some of you guys who are younger, those are not new. All those little gimmicks have been around for a very long time. They just cycle back through. You get someone who happens to be a good spokesperson for it, bringing it back up and bringing more light to it, and then someone young who doesn't know that's been around before goes, oh, that's the thing. But here's the thing. What do you want to do? Do you want to keep cycling through things like that? Because you'll do that and maybe you'll lose some weight because it's new and different, and you're actually eating less because you're following his thing, whatever it specifically is. But it just doesn't last. It doesn't last because it's not matching eating with hunger. It's having food rules. And I'm telling you, food rules, no matter what they are, long-term crack and you crash and burn. Because your body doesn't want food rules. Your body wants you to listen to it, not you to tell your body what it should have, what, when, and how, all that stuff that I say every week. So whenever you see something like that, any gimmicky 1 meal a day, intermittent fasting, oh, there's health benefits to intermittent fasting. Okay. Well, let's look at it this way. Right now, what you need, what we all want, is to eat and feel good and have a body we like. And the best way to do that is not through those gimmicks. If 20 years from now, you've been a healthy mentality eater for a long time, and you want to try some intermittent fasting thing for some extra health benefit because you're going to be a professional athlete or something, Well, okay, but really, is that what we're going to look at? Or are we going to stay right here in this moment and say, what's going to help me right now to redefine my relationship with food and eating and myself and get on with my life and not worry about this? Like the girl I said posted about being 10 when she started dieting, she's 20 now. Again, you don't want to perpetuate that for the rest of your life. That it's worthless. It doesn't work, and it's stressful. It was really funny. I was listening to a podcast of a guy talking about food, and he's very into like eating specifically. He's a professional athlete. I don't even want to say his name, but I was watching it. Interesting. And then he talked about Warren Buffett, like drinks 3 Cokes a day, and he's like 90 and he's fine, or however old he is, very old. Yeah, that's the thing. You don't have to have perfect eating to be perfectly healthy. You just don't. Our bodies can take in some stuff that isn't perfect, and still you can be perfectly healthy. I'm not advocating eating 3 Cokes a day, but I am advocating a stress-free life with regards to food and eating. And I don't know this, but I have the feeling that if you took the benefits of a stress-free relationship with food and eating, and then the negatives perhaps of drinking Coke or whatever it is, it would be pretty much, well, as long as you're stress-free, you can handle some of that. And that's what I'm advocating. Not hyperventilating over perfect eating, perfect nutrition, but instead focusing on, this tastes so good right now. And sometimes, I don't know what it is about me. Sometimes a Coke is what I want so much, and I have it, I enjoy it. I don't drink a whole one. I have it. A few sips does the trick. It's fantastic. Is that the best thing for me? No, I mean, probably not, right? But it doesn't hurt me. It's a real pleasure, and for some reason, I feel better after that. Is it the sugar? I don't know. Is it the carbonation? I don't know. Am I just really thirsty and that's what I crave? I don't know. I don't care. I don't care. I used to care. I don't care now because I trust myself. I trust my body. And it's such a reasonable quantity as opposed to if you guys are still drinking Diet Coke and all that kind of thing. God, that's where you should look for problems because those things are toxic chemical pools. If there's one thing you can do when you're trying to, reassess your relationship with food and eating is go, why are you drinking that? Well, because it's kind of sweet and I really need the sweetness. Okay. It would be way healthier to have 1 Coke and get it over with than to have, all that. And I used to hydrate myself with diet drinks. Believe me, I know. And it's not that it's hard to stop just because it's a habit. But on the other hand, once you do stop, like if I take a sip of a Diet Coke now, I'm like, wow, that is disgusting. How did I ever drink that? Your body gets used to that flavor and you just think it's good. But it's not, guys. Take a break from it at least and just see. Then try to drink one and go, oh. And just be aware of how things like that over time you get used to and you think are good. That's what happens with a lot of food things. There's another great article that's been posted in our private Facebook group called Smash the Wellness Industry. I think it was Liz. Liz, thank you. It's the only thing about that article talked a lot about how women get trapped into this. You're thin, but you need to be thinner, or you need to eat perfect eating, or are you doing this combination of foods right? All those things that are disguised as wellness, and they're not wellness. They're money makers for who's ever promoting those. That's all it is, guys. It's not wellness. It's their pocketbooks getting well off of you, needing all this advice. You don't need all that advice. You absolutely do not. You need to quiet that and go, what am I craving right now? What is this body who knows everything that's going on inside? My body is so tuned into everything that has been ingested. My body knows if I worked out yesterday, it will give me appropriate hunger. My body knows I was sedentary yesterday, so it will not crave a ton of calories because it was sedentary. It doesn't need them. These things are not magic, but that is the way you get connected to calm. And so the only thing about that Smash the Wellness Industry thing is men are so susceptible to this now, where in the past they were not. And in that article, it was really directed towards women. But I'm telling you, men are suffering too, because now the whole, very thin men, the hipster look and all that is making men question themselves. And I've seen it, especially in younger guys, it's the same thing. So, it's an equal opportunity destroyer. It's destroying men's self-image as well. And men get heavier too over time by dieting. And generally, the guys who are like my age started their dieting later, but the same thing happens to them. They come around and they're psyched because they've lost weight and they gain it back, and it's just as painful. And they're just older for my generation, but for you guys who are younger, those guys are doing the same thing and all worried about what food and this. All that is clouding your brain and not letting you focus on the real important thing, which is connecting eating with hunger. Everything is fattening when you're not hungry. Nothing is fattening when you are. Yes, some foods are more nutrition dense. Don't worry about it. You will eat nutrition dense food as well. I promise you really will. So let me turn that off. Week 1, exercise 5. We talked last week about this is your week-long assignment, okay? Now this is, I'm not going to phrase it like that since we're doing the workbook slower. This is your assignment, period. Is every time you eat, actively start connecting hunger with food. In other words, wait until your body gives you a hunger signal. You don't know what it is? Back into it. I think I'm hungry. I ate something. I feel really good. Okay, then you were hungry. It feels really great. Then you were hungry. It doesn't feel so good. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that delicious. Maybe you weren't hungry. Those kinds of things. And I know being insecure about this at first, that's okay. You'll get better at it. And over time, you will learn what your hunger feels like, and you will learn what foods satisfy the best. You will learn about you. So this is active engaging with your body and listening and listening. So just do the best you can. And when you have made some connections, write them down. Document what you're finding out about yourself. If you think that's corny or silly, okay, but really, you're a little kid again, relearning how to eat, relearning what hunger feels like, relearning what satiety feels like, relearning the joy of eating with hunger and not being afraid of hunger. Hunger is fantastic as long as you can answer it. It's a drive that we get to satisfy several times a day. We're very lucky. Let's get it back into that we're very lucky mode instead of this, hunger, I don't want to be hungry. Yes, you want to be hungry, guys. You want to be hungry. Hungry is fantastic. It's an opportunity for extreme pleasure. If you always try to eat so that you never get hungry and maybe just nibble all day long because, well, then I'm never hungry. That's no fun. You want your hunger to build, and then you want to satisfy it. Like a lot of other biological drives you can imagine, right? You let it build and you satisfy it, and it's fantastic. So when you feel this hunger, as you're learning this, or if you've been doing this a while, just keep remembering, because it takes a while to retrain your brain, that whatever you crave it without judgment. Like if you crave peanuts for breakfast, have them. Who cares? Well, if they're at 4 o'clock, it's a reasonable food, but in breakfast, that's not a reasonable food. That's silly. Of course it's fine. If you crave strawberries with ice cream at lunch, fine. If you crave cereal for dinner, fine. You get the idea. Don't worry about the time of day and corresponding cravings. Eating breakfast for lunch, dinner, or breakfast for dinner, or whatever. Don't worry about it. What are you craving? What feels good to you? What do you eat? And then notice, well, I thought I just really was in the mood for bacon and eggs, but I had some toast too, and I ate that, and that actually was really what I wanted, and I put jelly on it, and that's what hit the spot. You won't know at first so well, but when you do this a while, you know exactly what you want to eat, and it's fun. It's like every day, it's like, okay, what is it going to be? It's not just this rote thing where you every day it's the same. Someone else asked about eating intuitively when you have a schedule and you have work. Yeah, if you have to pack your lunch or whatever, and I talk about this in the workbook for work or for school or whatever it is that you're doing, in the beginning, it's going to be a little more effort. Pack yourself a couple of things and give yourself the opportunity to go, I have let's say tuna fish and I have peanut butter and jelly or whatever. What's hitting it? What is it that I really crave? Give yourself the option to choose. And if you say, well, that's expensive because then I'm making 2 lunches or whatever. Okay, this is so much less expensive than dieting long term. So in the beginning, set yourself up for success by giving you the chance to choose the foods that you want, by choosing the food that's going to satisfy you the best. Make the effort. Do it for yourself. Take care of yourself like you were your own kid. You're taking care of your hunger. You're giving yourself nice options. You're going to, let's say you ate the peanut butter sandwich and you have the tuna fish, you're going to put it in the refrigerator so it keeps, silly things like that. If you can, and you're going to bring it home, and let's say the bread is soggy, okay, take the tuna fish off, put it on something else. I mean, I'm saying really obvious things, but you can make this work. And another thing I write in the workbook and I write in the regular book, it doesn't take a lot of bites of food to satisfy hunger. You will learn that, and that's okay. And the good news about that is in the beginning of every chapter, I talk about the 3 things that you need to do every day. Have some food with you. So have some food with you. Always in your pocket or in your purse or in your car or whatever, just have something, because that gets you brave enough to stop eating when hunger's gone. You're like, well, if I stop eating now, in 2 hours, I'm going to be starving and I'm not going to be home for dinner until 4 hours from now or 5 hours from now. I'm just going to feel miserable. We don't want you feeling miserable. That's not the goal here. The goal here is for us to feel fantastic. So recognize that you don't need a huge sandwich to take care of that. You need some bites, a couple 100, 300 calories. I hate saying calories, but I'm trying to give you an idea of how much. Have something with you that is portable, that doesn't need refrigeration, that you can have. So when that hunger blooms and you know dinner is, or your ability to eat is in the future too far and you're not going to feel good, that you can answer that. And here's the other kicker. You may say, oh, that's not going to be very fun. I'm going to have some like plain crackers in my purse or whatever. You know what? When you're hungry, those plain crackers are fantastic. And that's the beauty of a healthy thin mentality. Understanding that, when you're actually hungry, all these things that your little snack that you have with you or whatever, it's amazing. It's great. You're salivating for it. And that's what you want. You want your body and your nose and your eyes to light up at the sight of food. You want to go, wow, God, give that to me. Let me have that. I'm so hungry. My mouth is watering right now thinking about it because I'm hungry. And that's the kind of thing you want. You want that in your life. You want that intense joy. Okay, let me look at this. I was forgetting to look at the comments. I'm sorry. How is this plan going to help your health? I have read that clean eating cleans your arteries. Yeah, that's a joke. There are so many people who have regained their health with whole food, plant-based diets. Okay, Rita, the joke I'm laughing about is the clean food. Okay, if you eat a plant-based diet, your arteries over time, so they say, and I guess I'll believe them, get clean and that's better for you. That's perfectly great. But that's not step 1, okay? And I would say over time that I personally have become more like that. But you got to understand, listen to this part very carefully. It's very important how you get there. If you get there by bullying yourself and restricting and saying, just eat plant-based, you crack. It doesn't last. You want to arrive there by your body saying, I feel really good when I eat that broccoli and coleslaw salad with just some raisins in it and some light dressing. I feel so good when I eat that. That's how you want to get there. And from my experience with others and with myself and working at Nutrisystem, being a trainer and all that, what I see is that the bullying of the body to conform to something in your head about a good diet is not as effective, even close, as saying, okay, what is my body craving? And yes, your body, will crave a lot of plant-based foods. Absolutely. Because you know why? Because they're really good for you. And do you think your body, we come in and we get domesticated and we have to then choose between all these foods, but then we don't do it based on how we feel. We do it based on a rule book, which ends up backfiring because we feel trapped and deprived. And maybe this day we really didn't need all that broccoli. We really did need some just regular bread, but we don't eat it because we're worried about not getting the broccoli. And it gets this terrible, stressful cycle. Trust your body. Your body is absolutely going to crave a ton of plant-based foods and perhaps some protein, some, animal or not, however you like to do it. And if you don't want to eat animals more because of a philosophical thing, that's completely fine. When you crave protein, you just eat a different kind of protein. It all works. Oh yeah, Leah, I'm so glad you're addressing that 1 meal a day fad. Yeah, 1 meal a day fad. It's a fad. It's a gimmick. It's it's a nice acronym. OMAD. Okay, great. What else does it do for you? Absolutely nothing. What it does do for you is make you overeat at that 1 meal, right? Because if you eat all your calories in a day, that 1 meal, all your nutrition, that's a lot of food, right? So you eat when you're not hungry and you don't eat when you are. Recipe for long-term rapid rebound weight gain? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. When you're hungry, have a little something. It doesn't have to be big. You're going to eat less if you do it this way, guys, because you're riding that beautiful wave of neutrality. And then hunger comes and you just calm it back down. And hunger comes and you calm it back down. And hunger comes, and every time that hunger comes, it's like, oh, yum, I get to eat. Not, oh, I got to wait till 6 and then I can eat, I can eat a sandwich and French fries and dessert and then will have done well today. That's That's ridiculous. That is not a way to live. Overstuffing at one meal so that then the rest of the day not feeling good. And I don't, oh, you feel good doing that? Well, okay, go ahead then. No, you don't. That doesn't feel good. That's not how our bodies are meant to be. No. Yeah, that's a good point, Alyssa. Just controlled binging. Yes. So the comment here, for you guys who are watching this later, is OMAD, 1 meal a day, is basically just controlled binging. Yeah. Nothing anti-religious, but looked up the guy Kellogg, who started the cereal company. He was Seventh-day Adventist and the originator of clean eating, among other things. Interesting. Yeah, clean eating is, I know it's just a metaphor, but I think people get really engaged with that word, clean. I'm going to be clean. We all want to be clean. There's nothing clean about us, right? We're filthy, dirty, and delightful, right? Our bodies, what comes out of us, it's not clean. We don't want to be clean. We want to be in this beautiful cycle of hunger and satiety, eating beautiful foods and experiencing the joy of that. The goal is to eat enough to satisfy your hunger. Wait a minute. How can we learn to eat less each time we are hungry? Okay, Keen Cat, gotcha. And let me just see, I didn't sound like someone I would like to, okay. How do you get in the habit of eating just enough to satisfy your hunger? Okay, I'm going to bring it up again. We have our necklace. It's the stay in the moment. I don't have it here, okay? When you're eating, stay in the moment. And how you stop eating when hunger is quiet is go, listen, I'm not denying myself food. I'm delaying until it's going to be way better, and be demanding enough of your life that you deserve your food to be fantastic, because you know what happens. The first 3 bites of dinner or lunch or whatever meal you're eating, or eating opportunity, it's not a meal, whatever, are the best, right? Those are when you're going, oh my God, this is so delicious and it's just so good. That's what you want. And the first 3 bites are great. The second 3, pretty good. And I'm not saying 3 bites for a specific reason, just, the beginning of your meal, the middle of your meal, towards the end of your meal, when you're kind of winding up, the food isn't as good. Why? Because brilliant Mother Nature, or whoever you want to call our creator, whatever, made it so we would eat when we're hungry, and she would give us great reinforcement. And I know I say this all the time, but remember this. I mean, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that positive reinforcement for eating in the form of taste buds lighting up and it being so delicious. That is what you want. You want your food, like healthy thin mentality people love eating, love food. We love it so much that we're not just going to put food down when there's no hunger, because it just isn't that good. It just isn't. So that's how you get into that habit. And habits are a funny thing. At first, any habit, a good habit, a bad habit, any habit, you gotta bring it in. You gotta reinforce it. You got a little homework to do there in terms of mentally saying, okay, I'm doing this for this reason. But once you get going on a habit that's self-reinforcing, and by that I mean, unlike dieting, a healthy thin mentality thinking builds, and it gets easier and better. So that's a habit that's self-reinforcing because it feels good. Unlike a diet habit, which feels bad. I'm always denying. I'm always not eating what I want. I feel bad before I go to bed because I'm hungry. All those things are fighting that habit. A healthy thin mentality habit is something that is more powerful more quickly because it's actually fun and feels good, and that's what you want. So let's go back into the bottom of page 29. Follow your body, not the clock, right? And as you eat, pay attention to your voice. It may help you to eat slowly at first, and I've said this many times before. I'm a fast eater, but in the beginning, when you're trying to really key into your healthy thin mentality, just take it easy so your body has a chance to signal you. And then all you do, and it's so simple, guys, the simplicity of this is crazy, is just delay eating when hunger is gone. Just say, hey, I've had enough right now. I feel good. This food is mine. I'll eat it later. I'll eat it when my hunger blooms. And blooms is a good word because hunger is something to be looked forward to. And wait, and just wait. And if you say, oh, that makes me feel nervous, and maybe you have a real history in your life of not having enough when you were young, or whatever your scene was, and that makes you nervous. But just calmly, just try it. Delay for 10 minutes. See how that feels. And you'll go, I feel fine. I didn't really miss eating that, and it's still there. So that means the next time I'm hungry, I can have that, or I'll have something else. Just neutralize all these thoughts with the bigger thought that if I can eat whatever I want whenever I'm hungry, that's a pretty good life with food. And what's the benefit of that? It's weight loss. because what you're going to eat less when you eat this way. Newsflash, you will eat less, and that is what we want. And that is what diets get you to do. They get you to eat less, but they do it in a way that isn't harmonious with your body, and that's why there's payback. That's why you gain weight back, because you're not in sync. You haven't learned how to eat. You've only learned how to diet. You're not going to diet the rest of your life. A few people do, and have fun, folks. It's not a life you want. It isn't. You want to be able to go to a party and not fear the buffet. And this is how you get there, by calmly knowing, hey, I can have everything on that buffet whenever I'm hungry. I can eat everything there. I just can't eat it all at once. I have to wait for hunger. And why am I doing that? Not because I'm being deprived or because I'm suffering. It's because, well, then it'll be way more pleasant. Because food with hunger is delightful. Food without hunger is eh. And if you say, oh no, I always love eating, well, you may have some thoughts about yourself that are not true. Like when you build your healthy thin mentality, you have revelations about yourself. Like, I used to think that I liked this, or I used to think that I was a really big eater and I only loved sweets. Let all those go. And if you go through the workbook, you'll see places to do that. Just let it go. Let all those thoughts about yourself go and relearn who you really are with food and eating. And you'll be delighted to know that, you're not exactly who you thought you were. And you actually do have, you do have a sweet tooth, but it's calmed down pretty quickly with not that much sweets. And that's me, by the way. I say this all the time too, you guys, sorry. But yeah, I have a sweet tooth. And I used to think it's all I would ever want to eat. Of course it isn't. That would make me feel terrible. And if food makes you feel terrible, then don't eat it, right? This is, everything I'm saying here is common sense. So whenever you're in doubt and you're somewhere and you go, okay, what should I do here? Just calm down and think common sense. Like, okay, well, I ordered this, but the waiter brought out the wrong thing, and I have to get to work, and so I just have to eat something. What should I do? Okay, well then eat it, right? Not every eating experience is going to be glorious, but in general, we will work towards them mostly being glorious. But if you get trapped in a situation where you can't have exactly what you want, yeah, common sense, we'll eat it and get on with your day. It's not that big a deal. But when you can make it the most wonderful experience, then do so. That's what we're talking about here, common sense. Let's see. I have a question here. The goal is to eat enough to satisfy your hunger, not to eat less. Then Clarita says, when it was a vegetarian and not anymore, I gained weight on it. Yeah, vegetarians can eat tons of food. And that's, you can gain weight eating all organic produce. You can gain weight eating the most beautiful, most nutritious food ever. And you can lose weight eating McDonald's. You know that thing that was years ago when somebody went to McDonald's and gained 30 pounds in a month eating McDonald's. I didn't do this, but I swear I wanted to, I'll eat at McDonald's every day. I'll lose weight doing that. It's really important, but let's get the quantity in order here. So you can absolutely eat anywhere and have a healthy thin mentality. Even if you're going to a fast food restaurant, yes, you still can. And I do. Sometimes they're really convenient, but it's not something to demonize, and it's not like I don't crave that very much because it probably isn't very nutritious, I guess, although some things there are. It's just that common sense. Like, no, if you eat a hamburger when you're hungry, you're not going to gain weight, or a cheeseburger. You're not gaining weight. If you eat a huge salad with, whatever, and you're not hungry, but you're eating it because it's nutritious, that's no good. Your body is not asking you for food. Respect that voice. So the whole key, as we wrap up this, we're still on week 1. This is week 5 in our series, but we're on week 1 in the book. And again, if you guys came in late, I'm going through the chapters really slowly because when I did it one at a time, it takes longer than a half an hour, 45 minutes to go through a chapter and do it well. So I've done it more quickly. And if you want to go to our private Facebook group, you can find them there. But I want you to feel every bit of this because I want you to go through this and I want you to have it in your heart and soul, and then I want you to get on with your life and do other more important things than worrying about your body and your food intake. And it is a better life, believe me. I know, believe me. There's so many other things you could be doing than constantly worrying about this. So let's get this set. Let's get you taken care of. Let's get your food relationship healed. And if you don't have to have some weird eating disorder, and I don't even mean to say weird in an unkind way, but you don't have to. Most people I know have strange relationships with food and eating because they're not connecting eating with hunger. And that is what everyone used to do. That was normal. That was healthy until a grubby, money-grubbing diet industry got involved and changed all that. So just remember, you don't want to be full. You want hunger to be absent. And that's that feeling of calmness. Like your body isn't churning because you got a big load of food in your stomach. It's calm. You've eaten. You feel good. You have the energy and the vitality you need to do what you want to do. And then when hunger spikes again or blooms again, you calm it down, and it's really fun. It's really fun. Please like, share, subscribe. Help me get this message out there. If you are interested in getting our workbook, go to dietsorfattening.com. You'll find it there. And remember, it's just delaying hunger. You can eat many, many times every day and make it good. All right? I hope this is helpful. Let me see if I have any other little things here. Yep, I think we're good. Oh, I see. There was a teacher who documented himself losing weight eating at McDonald's every day. Very nice. Okay, I'm glad I didn't have to do it. Okay. All right, guys, thank you for being here with me. Whether you're here live or watch later, thank you so much. And again, please share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Thank you so much.